Hey beauty, listen up. It's really quite simple. You're a divine soul having a human experience, and all the abundance you seek is available to you right now. Your assignment is to get out of your own way, become your most aligned and magnetic self, and open up to receive the desires that are placed in your heart. Because what you are seeking is also seeking you. Welcome to the Abundance Club. I'm your host, Amy Wilkinson, soul and abundance mentor and manifestation teacher, and I love that you're here. Let's go ahead and expand and play in this field of infinite potential. Welcome back, beauties. It is so good to be here. So good to be back. This is season 2 of my podcast with now a new look, a new feel, a new name. So welcome to the Abundance Club, everyone. It's great to be here after a really successful, enjoyable 6 months of my Light Up podcast. I felt a really strong calling to, I guess, more clearly define and really stand behind the body of work that I'm most lit up about, and to offer that in a way and in a title that I feel really reflects that. And so, as is with my life, this was not a deliberate process. This wasn't a deliberate decision. It wasn't an intellectual process. It wasn't a searching for or needing to change anything. It was really something that divinely dropped in, that I had this strong feeling and call to follow. And to be honest, this name dropped in a number of months ago. I'd say partway through the year. And I didn't actually know why or what it was for. I thought maybe it was for a program, and it only revealed itself a little more recently what that it was actually to do with this podcast. And you know what? I laugh at the word club because I am someone who is not a fan of clubs. I'm the last person to join a club. I love the meme. The first rule of the introverts club is there is no introverts club, thank God. So I did chuckle when this name dropped in from the ethers. Yeah, I do identify as a bit of an introvert, so clubs aren't usually my thing. However, and this is something that I want to speak to, this one right here, the Abundance Club, is the only one that you would ever want to be a part of, because it is the one that leads you home. It's free. There's no requirement. It's available to you all the time. And you are the only one that holds the key. You are the only one that's standing in your way. And I'm going to speak a little bit more about in this episode what it means, right? What abundance means, and how it's not something that is outside of us, separate from us, as we might be led to believe in our paradigm, in our thinking paradigm. So here we are, right? The only place you need to be, or you want to be, if you are to magnetize all that your soul desires, if you are to live in alignment with the essence of you. So my intention for this podcast is really to speak to those who are ready to experience, to cultivate a new reality, to sign up for one, and co-create in the driver's seat of their life alongside the divine, right? So it's very soul led, as my work is. I'm a soul and abundance mentor, and this is going to be an extension of my work. And really, it's inspired by the women that I have been fortunate enough to work close with this year, alongside in my coaching, in my one-to-one coaching, in my communities. And it's become clear to me that so many of us women are searching for something more, and are feeling like, in this period of ascension and awakening that we're going through, and this quickening that's occurring, is that there's no time to wait. There's no time to hold back. There's no time to put it aside. It's like, it's right now. We're ready. We're ready. And there's a few key elements here. What are they waiting for? What are they ready for? Right? And a big piece of this is freedom. Freedom to be all of who they are in all aspects of their life. No diminishing, no deleting, no amending parts of them or shape shifting to please others. You might resonate with this. I certainly did this for a big part of my life because I thought I needed to, for safety and for approval, right? So they're not wanting to anymore. They're not choosing to. They're not available to be holding back what's true in their heart. But instead, they're choosing to align with their more authentic self. When we align with our authentic self, we ignite our magnetism. And then, they want to live life on their own terms. Right? So this might speak to you if you are drawn into my world, if you're drawn to listen to this podcast, it is likely that you resonate with something here. You want to live life on your terms and have the courage to go after your dreams and desires, right? Or to finally create room in your life, room in your energy to receive that, knowing that you're worthy, knowing that you're worthy of that right now. And we're going to speak to that a little bit more, right? You want to do what lights you up and be so financially rewarded for that, and know that the two can coexist. One doesn't have to, right? They're not mutually exclusive. They want to be abundant. You want to be abundant, and the definition for that is different for each person. Maybe it's financially prosperous. Maybe it's an abundance of time and energy and resources to do what you love when you want. Maybe it's an abundance of company, of real depth in connection and community. Maybe it's all of the above, because there's no limits, right? There are no limits other than those that we mentally place on ourselves. It's all up to us. Okay, we are in that driver's seat alongside this co-creative force that I speak to, that I speak of, this consciousness, the divinity, spirit. Okay. And I relate to this personally, right? I've consciously created a life that offers me the freedom to work my own hours because that's something that I personally value, right? To do my soul's working, to do my soul's work, to follow a higher calling, which we each have inside of us, we each have access to. For me, it's about living where I want to live, living in a house that I love, that feels good, to have an abundance of time with my family, and to choose conscious and aligned friendships and partnerships that feel for me like home. Right? That's what I value. That's what abundance means to me. And I've always been a dreamer and a creator. From a very, very young age, I was aware, even in my teens, I was aware of consciously co-creating my reality. I was aware that, and this was probably my mum's influence she was very much in the teachings and the works of Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer. And so that came to me at a very young age. And I somehow knew, right? And it wasn't an intellectual knowing. It was a knowing in my soul. I knew that if I wanted to create anything, then it was up to me to choose it for myself, to align with that. And so I have consciously chosen and created the life that I'm living and have been living now. I'm 42, nearly 43. So what I realized though is that as women, and I can resonate with this too, so I'm not speaking from an out there, this is very much in me as well. I believe that as women, we tend to limit ourselves by default, not believing that we can have it all for whatever reason, right? That's programmed in us. We buy into the false belief and the perpetuating thoughts of lack and limitation. Right? We feel like we need to sacrifice aspects of ourselves or our dreams in order to have what we want. Or maybe deep down we don't feel worthy. And this is so real and so alive and so ingrained in so many of us, that we don't feel worthy or deserving of our dreams, that in order to have what we want, we need to first prove something to earn it, or we need to really work hard to earn it, or again, we need that sacrifice piece. Okay. We have all of these beliefs and programs embedded in our subconscious. And our subconscious really runs the show. We don't even realize it's about 96% of what we are doing and creating. It's like it's led by our subconscious programming, which is most of that is installed like hardware from the ages of 0, or even prior to that, like right from being in our mother's womb to 7 years old. And we continue, unless we're changing that wiring, we are continuing to live that out. And then that's simply 3D printing our life, our reality. And so I don't know about you, but and this fuels my vision, this fuels my mission. I'm really done. I'm really done with us women thinking and feeling and believing that we're not enough, that we're not worthy of the life that we truly desire. I want to remind you here, if this strikes a chord in you, if the dream is in you, it's for you. And that means that you have the capacity to bring it to life. You might look outside of yourself at somebody else, someone who you admire, someone who is living a life that you would love to be living, or has created things that you would love to create. And you might be thinking, that doesn't happen to me, right? No one else is more special than you. No one else has access to something that you do not have access to. So use those influences, use those people as a fuel for your vision, as like kindling on the fire, as expanders for you that help to propel you forward in the direction of your dream life. One of my favorite quotes is Bob Proctor, right? He says that if you can hold it in your head, you can hold it in your hand. And what he means by that is if this is something that you can envisage, right? He's speaking to the power of our imagination, that our imagination creates everything. If you can hold it in your imagination, you can manifest it in your physical reality. You can hold it in your hand. Right? It's said that everything that exists started with a thought, started with somebody envisaging it in their mind's eye, in their imagination. This is where it all begins. The problem is we don't let ourselves dream enough. And there's different reasons for that. Maybe we think we don't have time. Perhaps we are, distracted by all of the myriad of influences that are pulling our attention continuously and bombarding our senses. That's true. Or maybe we think that if I go after it, I might not get it, and therefore I'm going to receive disappointment. And I'm not up for that. So I'm not going to try. I'm not going to let myself go there. Does this resonate with you? So it's time that we stop doubting our capacity. It's time that we stop believing the lies of the mind, because the lies of the mind, the thoughts that come through our mind, unless they are self-directed, self-articulated, so unless that we are from our self with a big S, from our soul, unless we are directing them, soul's directing them, they are rooted in fear. Right? This is why I call them lies of the mind, because they are rooted in fear. So it's time that we start to play with aligning with our soul to guide us, because our soul only speaks the truth. And only love is real. Only love is truth. Only love is real, and everything else is an illusion. Let that just land in you for a moment. What would your life look like? How would you move about your day if you really believed that? If you knew that in the core of your being, that only love is real? Right? We give so much airtime to unloving thoughts. We give so much airtime to unloving beliefs. And then that is what leads us, right? We let fear be in the driver's seat. It's time to get fear out of the driver's seat. It's time to get the ego mind out of the driver's seat. Yeah, it has a place in our life. Yeah, we need to have a fear response, but not leading us, not guiding us. It does not. It's not good. It's like putting a drunk driver in the front seat. And you wouldn't do that. That would be unloving. Okay? Soul is truth, soul is love. So if you want to start to play in this field and align with your soul, you can ask, what would love do right now? What would love say? So if you're bumping up against any situation that's challenging, or even just when you start your day, what would love do now? What would love say? So in this inaugural Abundance Club podcast episode, I want to set a few things straight. Whatever abundance represents to you, and I suggest inquiring and gaining clarity on that. What does abundance mean for you? But whatever it represents to you, I want you to hear this as truth from your soul. You are not separate from it. It is not over there and you're over here trying to attract it in. That belief is an illusion. That thought is an illusion. It's based on this illusion of separation. And this is one of the two things that keeps us from feeling as though we are living in our abundance. It keeps us from magnetizing then more of that abundance in, is this belief in separation. We are not separate. We are a sum of the one consciousness, the one God, one universe. Okay, we're actually not separate from anything that we desire. And when we buy into that thought, we align with lack. And when we try to create from lack, we are not actually attracting anything in aside from more lack. So instead of abundance, we're keeping what we desire further away from us by subscribing to the belief of separation, that somehow I don't have it. I don't have it. It's over there. And even the energy of wanting keeps us in separation. Wanting puts out a signal. Remember, we are vibrational beings, so we are continually putting a signal out into the ethers, into the universe, into the field. So when we are aligning with a feeling of wanting, what we are affirming to the universe is, I want this because I know I don't have it. So we're affirming this sense of lack and limitation, which then keeps what we are desiring further away from us. Okay? Who we are is everything. We are whole. You are worthy just because you are. And again, take some breaths and let that in. Let that into your heart. Let that into your soul. You are worthy just because you are. I bet that you have never looked at a newborn baby, whether it's your own or somebody else's baby, a newborn baby, and thought that they have to do something. They have to be something. They've got to prove something for them to be worthy of this, let's say, milk or rest or playtime, that they have to earn it, that they've got to first be worthy of it before they're going to receive it. We don't do that. What do we do instead? Most of us, like any well-intentioned, loving human being, I realize that there are people in their shadow that perhaps don't look at babies in this way, but well-intended, loving, pure love beings that we all are. We don't do that. We shower them in love, in abundance, because they are that. They are pure love. They are pure joy. They are pure innocence. They are pure abundance. So we forget. And we buy into the illusion over time that makes us feel like we are separate from our abundance, that we have to earn it. Abundance isn't something you seek. It's not something that you earn. It is who you are right now. And the sooner you remember that and allow that and align with that, the sooner life will show you. It will highlight, it will illustrate, it will amplify the ways in which you're abundant to match that belief. Because in universal law and the law of vibration, we need to become a match. Once we are a match, once there is a clear signal, that's when we receive, right? Just like a radio station. I'll talk about this more in my next podcast episode because that's really important. So, right now, I would love for you, if you're not taking anything else away from this episode, to feel it, to know it, to believe it, to let it in. If abundance is what you seek, or freedom, or prosperity, or joy, or whatever it is, the fastest way that you can bring that into your life is to be that. Right? We don't get, Wayne Dyer said, the great Wayne Dyer, we don't get what we want in life, we get who we are. Okay? We get who we are being. The dominant frequency that we put out there is based on what we believe to be true and how we feel. Okay, so live that in every moment. And you can ask yourself this before I finish up. If I believed I was abundant, if I really believed that, if I knew that right now I actually had access to all the abundance because it's all here available to me, what would I do now? What would I say? So the two things that keep us from, the two beliefs that keep us from living this is the separation and scarcity. I've spoken about the separation. And the scarcity is that there's not enough to go around. There's not enough for everyone. That's not untrue, right? It's actually, we actually do have enough resources in all of the world for everybody. More than enough. So it's really important to notice what is coming up. What am I believing to be true here that's creating my reality? And what am I no longer available for? Because it is time and you get to choose that. Okay. And you having more, you allowing more into your life does not take away from anybody else. So if you have some belief up there in your mind that's going, it'd be greedy for me to want more. Really, I have enough because I don't want to take from others. Right? If you have that there, can you reconcile this? You being abundant supports others. Right? And let's talk about it in terms of financial abundance. Say, the more that you have, the more that you can give, the more that you can provide, the more that you can be generous with others. Okay? In terms of wealth and money just amplifies. It's an amplifier. So the Abundance Club calls to those who are ready to actually set down the limitation and remember their worth. And remember, abundance isn't something that they attract in. Abundance is who you are. It's your natural state. But we've forgotten. And so this remembrance of who we are and our capacity to create and to receive all the abundance that is available to us in all ways really moves the needle. This is when we wake up to what is already waiting for us, hidden in plain sight. Abundance isn't something that we create. It already is. It's already here. And it's waiting for us to open up our arms and receive it. So what I'm going to be offering in this season of the podcast is support, guidance, inspiration to help you get out of your own way and to start to live a life of abundance. Right? The abundance that you've chosen for yourself long before you came into this world. To live the life that your soul wants you to live. And if you want to dive into this more, if you want support with this, the practical how to embodied support, then I do this. I discuss this. I teach this in the Light Path Collective, which is my signature membership program. And you can join. You can join for 2 weeks at no cost. You can cancel anytime. And if you are a listener of this podcast and you love this episode or you enjoy what's coming through and you want to join Light Path Collective, shoot me an email or send me a DM on Instagram and I will offer you a special coupon code to join, because my mission is to get abundance, women to remember their inherent abundance so that we can have more women in this world who are lighting up the world, doing what they love, sharing their abundance, and being their soul-led, miraculous self. I want to leave you guys with a quote. I'm going to leave you with one of my favorite Albert Einstein quotes to contemplate. There are only 2 ways to live your life. One as though nothing is a miracle. The other as though everything is a miracle. And with that, you get to choose what you're aligning with, what you're available for. And life is simply going to reflect that back to you. And here's the other thing with that. You are the miracle, my friend. You are the miracle. I'm going to finish with that. If you enjoyed this episode, please give me a little review on Apple Podcast, follow the podcast. You might like to share it with someone that you love. That would be super cool. It's great to be back. I am excited for this season 2. Thank you for coming along with the ride, for the ride, with the ride, and for the ride. All right. I love you so much. Have the best day.